Hi everyone, welcome back. We'll be doing one last little video in the lecture series for today. Just a reminder though, I'm going to be covering AS1 here, and that's an assignment that's only for the graduate students in the class. So if you're not enrolled as a graduate student, uh, please stop here, go back and get back to studying for your midterm. Graduate students, again, you're welcome to watch this whenever you want. So if you don't watch it now, that's totally fine. But I wanted to get this out there. There was a few requests to talk a little bit about AS1. So let me pull that up for you. There we go. Sorry about that. I thought I had it up. Okay, great. So let's just walk through this really quickly. And I had a few notes on here. Again, this is only for graduate students. It's due November 2nd, so you do have a little while to be able to handle this stuff. And for this portion, for AS1, you're just creating the B version, where the A version of this code is already done. So I'll pull up some of that and we can take a quick little look here. One thing that can be a little bit tricky is setting up the logging system. We're going to use a Google form to sort of do that for us. So you can set up a Google form and then get some script that will automatically log all the interactions with your interface into Google Form as an entry for every time somebody does anything in your UI. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But again, the A version is already complete. You don't want to mess with that. You'll set up the logger to be able to work with it. And then you'll need to do the B version, which is going to change one part of the A version. Okay, so let's just kind of jump into AS1 for now. I'm just going to look at what we have here for the overview describing the problem. Okay, and so there's two different user interfaces to choose from. There's a Sudoku and then there's a calendar app. You're welcome to choose either of those ones. Make sure you click on the zip file one here because that's where you're actually going to be able to download the code for that. And the first thing to do is set up the data logging. So the files, let me pull that up for you as well. So let's take a look at the Sudoku one here. So in your file folders, you're going to have a logging option here. And I'm not going to walk through exactly how to do it here. I just want to point out where the directions are. So in your logging file now, this logging.js, you're going to see some instructions here at the top that explains a little bit about this on what you could change in order to log some different events. But the main part you want to look at is the code at the bottom of here, starting at 153. This is the change me part. What you need to do is update the function that you get that's already in this line is where you're going to have the a form ID that you're going to get from Google. And then this should already be set up, I think, where the form ID from Google gets placed into this part of the function. And then it's going to submit the new log of your data. Every line that you're logging gets submitted to this form. What gets submitted are going to be these items right here. And so you're going to need the data. You notice that the network logs here are all matched with the entry logs. And so these are all going to be item names that you're going to have in your Google form, and they have to be exactly this. And if you want to log anything additional to this, you're going to have to add some lines on both of these. So I'm not going to go through this. There's some pretty good directions here. It can be a little bit tricky, so if you're having trouble, again, reach out on Piazza. We'll talk about it. But this is how you're going to get your logger set up, by reading these directions and editing this code down here to match your Google form. Okay. Great. So that's these instructions here. Again, there's some directions on how to do the data logging. Once you have that ready, you're going to create an improved interface. So again, if we look at the Sudoku, the index for that is already done for the A version of it, right? So this is A, and it works. You actually don't have to change it for your A version. If I just click on it here, you're going to see it comes up, and we can just start doing this, right? So it works. This is your A version. For your B version, what you're going to do is design and implement some sort of change to it that's going to improve efficiency. So very specifically about efficiency. Um, and the idea is that you can use the A version as a starting point and then create a B implementation that is different. And we say very different where we don't want to just change like one tiny small thing, but something that you actually think might make a meaningful difference in efficiency, because you're actually going to try to measure these things. So it's going to be the same user problem as the A version, which is basically creating a calendar event is your goal for the calendar one, and to play this game is the Sudoku one. And you want to be able to add into your UI to record at least 2 new types of log events that are relevant to your interface. This is where you actually get to tailor the A/B testing to specifically what it is that you're trying to measure. So there's some information about here, right? About how to do that right here. And one note here is at this point, you're not actually running users yet. That's for AS2 to actually test users. What you will do is to just run some quick test data logging, essentially you testing this out, just to make sure that your logger works. And so you will turn in a spreadsheet of what your data looks like, but it's not from actual users. It's most likely just you kind of playing around with it to test the logger to make sure it works. Okay. We give some ideas here of things that you might improve to change for your B. Again, an A/B test is really just saying, here's the status quo, here's a slightly different version. Is the different version better in one way or another? These are the ways that you might make your B version better. And then after you implement this, you have now a running B version that is similar but different enough that it might make it more efficient to do something. You'll do a collection of an example data log. So there's some explanation about how this works. And when you, again, this is all going to be tied to that Google form. So you should be able to export your Google form data into a CSV, and you're going to name it example-data.csv. And this is going to be submitted for AS1. Remember, just yourself as a pilot participant here. It should have a sequence of events that happen for both A and B, so we know both of them are working. A version column that tells you when A and B is happening, and this is something that we should see in the CSV itself. Not 2 separate CSVs, they're going to be logged in the same one. So your logger.js is going to be go to the same form for both. You want to keep your data together. So that's why you have to have a column in there that tells you which version was being used at the time. And then you're going to have these columns are going to be included. They're already there for you, so that shouldn't be too difficult, but you want to just verify that they're there. And then also the new custom event types that you add in there, you want to make sure and verify that those are logging as well. Okay, so then you'll prepare a pretty short report, name it AS1-report.pdf, and that's where you're going to describe the interface, what changes you made, and then and how you're going to do your analysis. So you'll start with your problem, talk about any collaborators. But for the most part, you should have no collaborators on this one. This is an individual assignment. So if you talk to other people about it, please do mention that. But like I said, this would be, for the most part, on your own. Give a screenshot of your B interface and put together an experimental hypothesis. So you get 3 sentences, but that's probably too much. Really just 1 sentence is what you want to do. And that basically says that you expect to be able to see this improvement when your log data is compared to the A version. That should be a testable hypothesis. So you should have a variable that you're collecting data on that you're actually predicting is going to be better now. So that could be how quickly they complete a calendar entry. And so you need to be able to have a way of measuring how quickly they complete a calendar entry and then compare the A version to the B version. Okay. And then you should also talk about the new logged events that you've added. So this will be the custom list that you're logging and a description of why you have each of those things being logged. Again, you should have at least 2 new ones. So in here is you explaining why they're there and what they're meant to do. So what you hand in is just that report that we talked about just up here, the example data, and then a directory that's containing all of your source code. That can be a zip file, is totally fine. You just want to make sure that we have everything we need to be able to run that. Okay, grading is really simple. Does it work? Does your B implementation include all the necessary elements to conduct the experiment that you said you're going to do? And then all the things that you hand in, is it actually neatly organized and demonstrate all the things you're supposed to do. So hopefully that gives you a clue as to what AS1 looks like. Um, and we can revisit this, especially office hours. Come by and let me know what you're struggling with on these things. So hopefully this will get you started though, and happy to help any more in the future if needed. So thanks a lot. I'll see you soon.